Hi everybody, my name's Lisa Jamison and I'm director for Team BW in New Zealand. I wanted to do a talk today about parties because parties are totally my passion. So I just want to talk about how I go about the process of them and what I do at my parties. I feel like I have good success at my parties, so I wanted to share that with you all. So that's what my video today is about. So if I don't cover enough information for you and you want to know more, please just ask more. I'm more than happy for you to friend request me or private message me and ask me any more questions about parties. Okay, I'm just going to go and do a brief overview of how I do run my parties. I don't want it to be too detailed, just so that it's not too long a video for everyone to watch, because let's be honest, we're all time poor. Okay, so when I start out with my parties, basically what I do is I firstly try to arrive at least half an hour early to set up. I feel that's quite important, to not be trying to still set up when people are arriving, because that arrival period when people are coming is absolutely crucial. I use that as some time to get to know the guests and introduce myself and greet them as much as the hostess does, if you know what I mean. You want to make them feel like you are their friend as much as the hostess. You know, you want to be part of the party, not that person standing over in the corner waiting for everybody to stop talking so you can do your presentation and get the hell out of there. No, you actually want to be part of the party. And that for me is probably why parties are my passion, because I love the social engagement from it that I get, and meeting new people and engaging in conversations that, you know, you might not be having if you're at home with your kids. Or not that I don't like being at home with my kids, but let's be honest, sometimes girl company is a little bit more fun. Yeah, so I like to arrive half an hour early, as I said, to set up, and I like to talk to my host about how I do the parties, just in case there's some aspect of it that she's not actually that keen on, i.e. I like to do games in my parties, and I do a bit of a presentation where I talk about the products and things like that. Some hosts might not be that keen on doing games, which is absolutely fine. So you need to suss that out while you're setting up and talking to her about things and how her day was, and, you know, do you need any help even chopping up some carrots for the carrot sticks and dip or whatever, you know, especially if your host is a bit stressed, definitely offer to help. I think that's really a kind thing to do for your host, just to help alleviate the stress. Some people don't like having people over a lot, so they may be finding it a little bit stressful. So yeah, that's what I like to do, is just talk to the host about how I run the parties, especially if she hasn't been to one of my parties before, and just want to make her feel comfortable with what I'm doing. Most hosts are happy to go ahead with what I like to do at parties, but again, I think it's always a nice thing to check with them. So then after actually talking to the host about the parties, and I finished setting up and I finished offering help, well, you know, we've finished getting the nibbles ready or whatever, the guests start to arrive. And so this is what I was talking about before. Being sociable with the guests is really, really important. It's really crucial, and it's key to being personable with the people that are there. If you're personable, and then people will relate to you and they'll think, oh, she's really nice. It wasn't like she was all salesy and pushing things on me and rah. And talking about, when you are talking to the guests, talk to them about themselves, ask them about, you know, their lives, how did they meet their host, all that kind of stuff. And then also just trying to, in the same sense, incorporate the products. Oh, so have you seen Scentsy before? No. Oh, okay, I think you're really going to enjoy it. Do you like scented candles? And then that might get you off onto another, who knows what it could get you onto another conversation about. Yeah, I having not got lipstick on my teeth. You know, she could be talking about scented candles and how much she loves them, and then talking about maybe how she's she goes into, oh yeah, I like the smell of scented candles because I like my house to smell clean and I like my house to smell fresh, and then you're straight onto another whole ball talking about products and our clean range, etc, etc, etc. You don't have to stay on that subject, but it's really good to be able to just incorporate talking about Scentsy as well as talking about her personal life and her family life and so on, and just engaging in the conversations. I guess that's what I'm trying to say, is don't just sit there and not engage, because if you can be personable and you can talk to people at the parties, then this is going to result in people joining your team and people buying from you, and in people hosting parties for you. And it also helps you to build relationships. You never know, at one of your parties could be your next best friend, because you just connect with them so much and you have so much in common that, you end up becoming really great mates. So yeah, that is a really important aspect of it, is greeting the guests with your host and introducing yourself. You may find the host is a little bit flustered because she's got lots of people arriving. So if somebody's sitting there by themselves, go over and sit down and have a chat to them. Don't just leave them sitting there, because sometimes the guests come to parties, they don't actually know everybody, and they may be feeling a little left out. So make them feel part of the party. Right, so that's my next step. Then pretty much once everybody's arrived and I've finished talking to everyone and everyone's finished having a chat and they've all got a drink or whatever, and you just kind of have to haul them in a little bit and say, hey, should we start now? And pull them all over, get them all sitting down. At this point, I don't hand out any catalogues or anything like that. I have got them out for people to see if they want to see them. And some people will be really keen to get into it, and they'll pick up the catalogues when they arrive and start looking at it, and they'll start asking you questions, and they'll start smelling the testers, and that's fine. I don't stop any of that. That's great, because it just means that questions are going to come about the products, which is good. But I do try to not hand the catalogues out, because I do find they're a little bit distracting for some people, because they will use it to put their get out of playing games if they didn't want to play a game. Not that the games that I play personally are offensive or scary, I guess, what's for want of a better word at the moment. But yeah, that's what I try to do, is just have those kind of pushed to the side but available if people want them. So then I start with a thank you to the host, and I give her a small gift. Now, when I say it's small gift, it is generally a small gift. I try to give them things that I've got for free or half price. It might be a bar of wax. It might be a dry disc with a sample of Counter Clean and a sample of Scentsy Fresh. It could be a couple of scent circles with again, samples, supersized samples. I try to give supersized samples, not the small ones, obviously, because that's a little bit you can give what you want at the end of the day. If you don't want to give anything, or you do want to give something really small, but you're on a budget, just even a bar of chocolate as a thank you is nice, and a little card attached to it. Hosts don't actually expect us to give them anything, so when we do, it's a pleasant surprise for them. And that is just something else that all of the guests at the party are seeing and thinking, oh, she's made a real effort, and that's come out of her own pocket. So that's nice. She's a good consultant. She likes to look after her customers. So yeah, that's my next step. Thank you and a little gift to the host. And then I go on to talk about my why and a little bit about me and my business. And when I do say that, I do tell them about me. So I tell them a couple of the reasons why I first started Scentsy. One was because I super loved the product, of course, and that's probably a good, really number one reason around the world why consultants join. It's to feed their addiction. But another really huge thing for me, and the reason that I joined Scentsy, was because my husband was quite sick, and he still is. He's got he's not in good health. I mean, he's not like in hospital or anything like that, but it costs us money to keep him in good health, put it that way. So I needed to earn some money to help towards the medical bills and things like that. So that was another reason for me as to why I joined Scentsy. So I share that. I actually tell people, and I share my why and the bit about why I joined and all of that kind of stuff. If you're a little bit nervous about sharing why you joined, write it down on a piece of paper so you can read it off the piece of paper. it's really important. People expect you to talk about why you joined and your business when you do parties. If you didn't, they may think it's a little bit strange. So do tell them why you joined, because you don't know. Your story may relate to somebody else. And it could be the reason that they decide to join your team. Because when they decide to join your team, they're actually choosing you as a sponsor. And that's because you've got common ground and you've built a relationship with them and you have something in common. So they relate to you. They don't choose you as a sponsor because you earned 3 free trips. And they don't choose you as a sponsor because you're the top recruiter. They choose you because you've talked to them about the opportunity and you've built a relationship with them. So don't miss the opportunities in building relationships with people at parties, because there's definitely potential recruits at every single party. And that's one other thing that I'm trying to get out of the habit of. Calling them recruits. I like calling my girls teamies because I feel like we're all part of a team, and that is what we are. So I don't know. It's a thing for me. I don't like to refer to them as recruits. So I say, oh yeah, my teamies, like love having you as part of my team, that kind of thing. So saying to people, oh yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, and I got a little bit distracted, but saying to people about them becoming your team member as opposed to recruiting underneath you is a nicer way of putting it, I feel. But it's totally up to you what you want to say and how you want to say it, because let's be honest, you want to put it in your own words. So yeah, and then I do go on to talk, sorry, I've just got something in my eye. I do go on to talk a little bit about my business, and when I talk about my business, I talk about who my sponsor is and what I've earned from Scentsy and how it's changed me, and I tell them about my successes with Scentsy and about my girls and the team that I run and all that kind of stuff. And that little talk probably only takes, well, how long has this taken me? Probably less than 4 minutes. And so that's like such a small snippet of time to talk about yourself and your business, and it's not a big ask. So don't feel like you're annoying people when you're talking to them about it, because it is really important. Okay, so I then jump in to talk a little bit about the games that I'm going to play at that party. I have a few different games that I play, so if you want to know more about the games that I play, please comment below and I will answer your questions. One of the games that I love to play, and I play it at all my parties, is actually a Katie Farner game. So for those of you who know Katie Farner and those of you who don't, she's a superstar director in the US, Sunshine State or something like that. And this is one of her games, and I find this works so well. I tell you what, the rebooking rate I've had for parties since I've been using this game is amazing. So I actually have 3 sets of beads, but I think one of my kids has got the other ones. So I wear beads. And I'm wearing them right from the beginning when people come. One thing I find with the beads is I can't stop touching them. So that's a really, really good point, because it reminds you that they're there. So I put them on my neck, and as I'm starting to talk about the games, I pick up the beads and I'm like, these are my booking beads. And our lovely host today is going to get to wear my beautiful, expensive pearls, because they are so beautiful and they are so expensive. I then take them off my head. I'm not going to take it off now because all my hair's going to flick forward. Take them off my head. I put them over the host's head, and I say to the host, now, if you get rid of if you get 3 party bookings today and hand over all of your beads to each, to your guests that want to book parties, you're going to get an extra gift. Not only are you going to get an extra gift, the person who's booked the party is going to get a gift, but you have to get rid of all 3 sets of beads. Okay? And so what that does is it puts it on her. It's not you asking for the parties as much, it's your host. And she gets into it. She thinks it's a great game. She's always like, yeah, take my beads. And she puts it around people's necks, and she'll actually put it around the people's necks who are most likely to book parties, you'll find most of the time. And the other thing that she'll do is she'll be playing with them and she'll hold them. It's because we're not really in the era where we wear beads. You'll find people just can't help but touch them and feel them. So yeah, they personally work really well as a party game for me, and I highly recommend them for everybody. Sometimes you might only get rid of one set of beads, which is fine.